Hey guys, what's up? This is CG Stuff. Update 1.3 for the animation library, for the action library, is out. And there's a few things we need to talk about before we delve into the features. I have refactored the database. The naming convention is more readable. Some stuff have been overhauled, like literally, not actually some, everything has been overhauled. Unfortunately, if you go here and read on the page, uh, if you have been using version 1.2 or earlier, version 3 is basically like, the overhaul. So sorry for the inconvenience, but you just need to like save your animations into Blender if you have been using them and just reapply them. You know what I mean? Because just something to understand on how this works. Let's say if I just save this animation right now, just as a small background thing, if I go into the action library and if I just save it really quick, it's not going to be, just let's say really quick. And if I see it here, see right now in any version of the application, whether it be 1.2 or 1.3, you're gonna see basically this version 1, version 2, version 3, the metadata information, etc. Where this gets saved is inside the blend file. You see what I mean? So this blend file goes and gets saved somewhere. There was some weird naming convention that I had to be dealing with, etc. I was like learning how to develop the app. That's not the point. The point basically is, if you had version 1.2 and if you want to capture animation, right now in the new add-on basically, and even back then, it was telling you, do you want to save this as a new version? And I say yes. All right, cool. And right here, if I refresh, it shows me version version 2. I'm like, wait a minute. What if in the old app you guys had version 6? Don't worry about that. If you guys had that, you just take your old animation and version 1.2, take it to, let's say, Blender, and if you want to, let's say this is version 6 of your old animation, if you capture, it's not going to prompt you to save as version 6 because it's technically an old animation. I made a system where basically it will automatically detect that this is legacy animation, and it will capture as if it will clear the old metadata, and it will start capturing as if it's a new animation in version 1.3 of the application. So since this is out of the way, perfect. So what I added, right now installing the Blender integration, just like some quality of life improvement. If you go here, inside the settings, you have the Blender integration. Back then, the thing is that every time you guys have to install the add-on, you're gonna have to remove it, delete it, etc. And then you're gonna have to go back here. You're gonna have to go to the Blender integration tab. And I'm like, all right, cool. Just detect the Blender. The thing is, right now, you don't even need to do this because right now configurations are saved on your system. So if I exit the app and if I enter again, it's going to remember my theme. It's going to remember my settings. It's going to remember everything. So if already your preferences of Blender, you don't need to do that anymore. Like Blender's over here, like if I set Blender once, it's going to remember. Now, in terms of installing the app, you don't need to uninstall the app, the add-on, sorry. If the add-on is already installed on, let's say, Blender 5.0, you don't need to go and uninstall the add-on anymore. You just need to verify Blender, and it will tell you. It's not telling me because I have the latest version. So what happens right now, it will tell you update for let's say 1.0 to 1.3, and you update and it tells you like the add-on has been updated. All right. So another thing is basically inside the add-on, every time you previously had to uninstall, you had to, oh, okay, I had to re-put storage, I had to re-put the exe. This is not a thing anymore. It will automatically detect the storage from the application, and it automatically detects where the exe is. So all of this is set up for you guys. All you have to do is just single install from the application. That's it. It's as simple as that. Yeah, these are the few things that are, let's say, on the Blender side. Oh, okay, actually, on the Blender side over here, I added something new. So let's say this scenario where basically there's like someone working on mocap data. Usually in game animations we have like 3000 frames mocap data, we have idle, jump, attack, etc. All the animations are captured at once, and then they clean them up and separate them. In big studios, the people who are separating them, they give them to animators, and animators work on them. But in indie studios, sometimes the animators, they're basically taking that role, unfortunately. Whatever, it's fine. So I'm making this thing easier. Let's assume that this is like a very long animation. What I do is, let's say this is like a small attack animation or whatever. I come here. Once I select keyframes, this button basically highlights. It asks me capture selected. I'm like, cool, capture selected. And oh yeah, okay. So here's the thing. If another thing that I did basically, in case you have an animation of the same name, you cannot make that animation. Like there's basically going to be naming collision, so you need to be careful of the naming convention, and we'll get to naming in a sec. So what I'm going to do just temporarily, I'm going to name this _1, okay, and I'm going to capture these keyframes, and I'm going to capture selected, okay, and it's going to capture my animation, but only the selected keyframes. So I'm going to go here, go back to the app, and I'm going to refresh, and notice that it only captured the selected keyframes, okay, and I just noticed that I should prompt it for it to actually tell me what to select. Maybe it's a bug. I'll look at it. The point is that it's there. Okay, so maybe I want to like select. These are like only like when he's just lifting his legs. Capture. All right, let's just for now call it 2. All right, and I'm going to capture selected. I'm gonna go back to the app, and now we have this number 2. Yeah, pretty much that. Okay, cool. That's pretty much it. And the old one is this. Another thing regarding naming and renaming, etc. So we have this Ben Cow animation, and I already have a Ben Cow animation in Blender. And all right, so I go back to Blender. I want to rename Ben Cow. All right, I'm gonna ignore capture selected. I want to capture animation, and it's telling me, oh, okay. So I want to make a new version. I'm like, no, you cannot. You already have an animation called Ben Cow. Okay, cool, no problem. I go here and I click on rename. I click it to, let's say, rename _05 or whatever. I rename it. So it gets renamed to bencow05. While Blender is open, I want to go, I capture. Here's the thing. Since this specific animation is linked to the metadata, basically, like bencow had like its own metadata, it has its own version, these will get cleared. You need to be careful while doing that. Because right now, if I capture this action, it will capture as a new action called bencow. So this is useful, but also very, very like, be cautious of it, is what I'm saying. So right now, bencow, with its own metadata, will be recaptured again, all right? And now the cycle will repeat, all right? So if I capture again, let's say, where is it? This same animation. If I capture action, it will capture as a new version. Here's the thing though. This action is saved on this metadata. So it doesn't matter what I do right now. I can just rename it to whatever. If I capture action, it will tell me the current source is bencow, and it will save as a new version. So when I'm saving it, I'm technically saving this one, all right? So bencow version 3. You see, it doesn't matter what you name it in Blender. You can name it, keep giving a string. It's not the issue. Capture, it will keep capturing version 4 because the important name and the metadata exists in the application. I'm just gonna rename this bencow, all right, just for convenience. Cool. That's pretty much it. What else? Yeah, let's go to the application. Actually, what we have actually right now is for solo creators and let's say animators that want to treat this as an, let's say, asset library and nothing else, this should be fine. But the next part is, let's say I'm trying to develop something that might be useful for, let's say, small teams. So you click on, let's say, an animation, you click on view lineage, and it opens this dialog. So I can click and I can start comparing my animation. I have, let's say, I can see this, that's cool, and I'm just gonna make it bigger. Okay, so right now latest is version 3. But right now, let's say your animation director is telling you, you know what, I don't like this part. So you click, he adds like, let's say, a comment, whatever. I'm gonna put test. And in this comment, you see a timestamp. And then he keeps scrubbing. And he's like, oh, you know what, maybe we should hold this frame for like extra 3 or whatever. And then he adds another, there's 2, and cool. So right now you can just jump from timestamp to timestamp to see the comments. And to signify something, he enters this, let's say, pen, and then you enter this annotation, and it's like, oh, you know what, something is wrong with the hand or whatever, you know, like we need to like adjust the feet, etc. And then done annotation. So when you start jumping from one place to another, you see these issues, and then like, oh, okay, something we need to like, something is wrong with the feet. Just like, hey, can we like add an arc or something? You know, I don't like this hand. It's, you know, the silhouette is, etc., etc., you know, like reviews. All right, so we start looking at them, and then that's cool. And then I want, like, let's already say that we had like, let's say, comments on version previous. All right, just like put a few comments, you know, like something here, something here. All right, whatever. Cool. So now what I want to do is, like, let's say we are comparing previous versions. So I enter compare mode, I click on the first video, the second video, and I start playing a synced timeline. All right. So now while in the synced timeline, I can also click on, let's say, all right, This is frame 1. It was like that. It's like that. Cool. We changed something, and then all right, let's look at the previous one, etc. You know what I mean? So, and you can see the individual comments for, let's say, version 3, which is here, and version 1, which is here, and you can also scrub between them. Again, for solo creators, most probably you guys are not going to care about this, but for people who are, let's say, having animation reviews, small teams, etc., this would be a great benefit. All right. And then let's say you added comments on an animation. You click here, you see this icon. Oh, cool. I have a comment. I go to lineage, resolved, close. And then once both of them are resolved, they disappear. You see what I mean? Another feature that's been added is that back then, the button for applying used to be just one giant button. And there was a drop down that said new actions and add playhead. So right now, I just improved the UX. Right now, you see that there's apply new action and add playhead. So, and also, let's try something. If I apply new action, you guys see that in Blender, the action has been applied. I'm just gonna increase this, and just add playhead. That's cool. Another thing that I did for power users is that instead of just clicking here, you can just double click on the animation as usual. Nothing changed. However, I added an alt modifier. If I hold Alt and double click, the action gets applied at the playhead. So that's pretty nice. Another feature that's been added is the ability to select bones directly from the app. So right now I just captured this pose from this file, just like this hand pose. It's only been selected on the bones, and you can tell from the icon as usual. Now right now, if I double click it and control double click it as usual, it's gonna apply as mirrored and apply as normal. What if I want to select the bones though? I added this button, and right now it's not in the best placement because I'm still working on the UI. If I select bones, I go to Blender, and you can see that the bones have been selected. If I control, which is the modifier for mirror, control, select them, it's going to go to the other side. What if you want to select them both? As usual, we have the shift, which is the additive. So you shift, control, shift just alone to add them. So there you go. Right now, this is how you select bones from directly inside the app. And generally, these are all the features that I've added, quality of life, extra features, etc. And I hope you guys, they're useful to you, and I hope you've enjoyed the video. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys.